Never mind the bollocks, you. Here's the Sex Pistols. Welcome to the Venomous Bite. Um, I hope you like my English accent, mate. Uh, you guys anyone who knows me, and I do terrible accents. Thought I'd give it a try though. Do something new every intro, you know. So today, fuck, we have a long one. I've been a bit disappointed with the length of the other two. As interesting as it was to talk about Iggy Pop last week. Um, it wasn't long enough. I didn't feel it was long enough, so I did some deep research for this one, and I think it paid off. I got a lot of notes written down. I'm using a book now instead of just my phone, so that's a new step for myself. Um, so yeah, today's episode will be about the iconic band, the Sex Pistols. For me personally, when I got into the Sex Pistols, I think it would have been around 18, 19 is when I started to get really serious about punk music. And to this day, I really only care about, the old school punk. You know, Sex Pistols, Black Flag, the Misfits, Dead Kennedys, you know, bands like that. I grab it. There's a few like hardcore punk bands or power violence bands like Nails, for example. But normally I keep to the old school. Wednesday 13, I guess, is a modern example of a band I like. That's horror punk. But anyway, so yeah, we're going to talk about the Sex Pistols. So, okay, let's start from the beginning, lad. You have to put up with my shitty accent this whole episode. Sorry, it's kind of in the mood now. Anyway, the Sex Pistols were an English punk rock band formed in 1975. Their career only lasted 2.5 years. There's that. Okay, that kind of reminds you of on a real side. That kind of reminds you of what the fuck's the band called? Joy Division. How they only had two albums. Their last album, the second one, the closer. That was a perfect 10 out of 10 fucking album right there. Kind of an innovation of emo music. But I'm going off topic here, but it just reminded me 2 years. They're the same kind of thing. Anyway, they only lasted 2.5 years, but they were one of the most groundbreaking acts in modern music and directly responsible for the punk rock movement in the UK, not only because of their music, but their fashion sense was a significant push for the punk image. So, I mean, I don't think I need to spell it out for you, but we're talking like mohawks, fucking, I'm gonna guess like dog collars, like spike chains, ripped jeans, you know, there was a character in Guitar Hero no, yeah, Guitar Hero 3, that girl, I think it was, that kind of with the spike hair and I think it was a purple spike hair, was a guy. There's a character in Guitar Hero 3, I'm pretty sure. That kind of puts it off like the real spiky hair. Kind of like fucking Duncan from Total Drama Island. If you guys have watched that, him, that's what they're describing about here. So never been a big fan of Mohawks myself. The closest I can admire is Paul. Is that name? Fucking from Tekken. He's fucking massive as Mohawk with the flat top. Anyway, that's random as fuck. But anyway, yeah, there was a significant push for the punk image. So let's start with the original lineup. The original lineup goes as follows: they had the vocalist Johnny Rotten. You got the vocalist Johnny Rotten, mate. The guitar. Oh, you got the guitarist over there, mate. Stevie Jones. Stevie Jones, mate. You having a piss or what? Oh fuck. Um, you got the drummer lad. Paul Crook he is, and the blade and now I may as well see it through. And you got the bassist, mate. Glenn Matlock. Glenn Matlock he is. Um, yeah, sorry, people. Under the management of Malcolm. Under the management of Malcolm McLaurin. Malcolm McLaurin. This is a disaster. Malcolm McLaurin. The bassist was replaced by the infamous Sid Vicious. I don't know how to say it in UK. Anyway, replaced by Sid Vicious in the early 1977. Um, what started their rise to infamy was an appearance on the Grundy Show on the 1st of the 12th, 1976. It's on YouTube if you search it up. The Grundy Show. I'm pretty sure like that's the most popular video. Um, the appearance, so the actual thing, uh, the Sex Pistols appearance didn't last long, and showed obvious tension between the band and the host for for saying like cursing live and apparent rudeness, according to the host. And they're all punk teenagers, literally punk teenagers. They started that shit. So of course they're gonna be a bit bratty. They're gonna be a bit crazy. What's interesting is there's a separate interview, I'm pretty sure, where it's like when they're asked about the influences and they say they have none. And that caused a bunch of controversy. Like, oh, these disrespectful fucks. It's probably not how they're talking. Yeah, these disrespectful cunts, lad. They're fucking out of their bollocks. I don't know how they talk. But yeah, they said that. And it's funny because years later, the rapper Little Yachty, I know I'm going fucking sidetracking here, but he would say the same thing. He said he doesn't have any influences. He does him. And, initially when there was a lot of pushback, a lot of people compared that to the Sex Pistols. And then he ended up being a fan of punk. So, weird correlation, I don't know. But yeah. So, yeah, for swearing and rudeness. The rudeness part from the host. But one thing that I found interesting though is that although the host wants to call them rude and so blown away by their blasphemous swearing, um, he literally tries to hit on a young minor girl who had accompanied the band. There's like a chick in the back with like a mohawk or something like that. And he's like, "Oh, I should take you out," or something like, I should take you out later tonight," or "You free later." And it's like she's obviously a minor. And this dude's like looks like he's in his 50s. It's like, oh yeah, swearing's not a fucking swearing's a big issue, but not hitting on minors apparently. Weirder. Another incident that got the band in trouble was their single, which was released of May of 1977, called "God Save the Queen." Infamous single, "God Save the Queen." God save the Queen, lad. So on this single, they obviously talk about the Queen. I mean, it's the name of the title. God Save the Queen. And what's interesting about this song is that it was banned by the BBC and nearly every independent radio station in Britain, making it quite possibly the most censored song in British history. So can you imagine that? They're just out there like talking shit about the Queen. um, it's pretty funny. Um, so yeah, like I mean, I think it's a common thing because it's like I know the Queen's passed since, and how many years later was that? 87, 97, 2007. Fucking hell, she was old. Like 40 years later. Fuck, she was old then. But like, I guess we can't really see that here, can we? Because like, I'm from Australia, and like, I don't care about anyone in fucking government that much. But I guess she's been around for ages, so it's like a big blasphemous thing. But and currently the rapper Slow Tie, I don't know, I keep going back to rap, but the rapper Slow Tie is in a lot of heat in the British government for his album Nothing Great About Britain, where he like openly calls the Queen a cunt at the end of the first track. You know, so the reasons for the single's controversy was its equation of the Queen with a fascist regime. No, no, no. You just can't do that, lad. You can't do that. Um, and for the lyric, there is no future in England's dreaming. Oh shit. They're spitting bars. Many believe the single was created because of silver the silver jubilee incident, which for those who don't know, it was the marking of the 25th anniversary of the ascension of Queen Elizabeth II on February 6th, 1952. Now, you know what's interesting? My family, my mom told me the story. It could be, pretty sure it's around the same time, but in the 1950s, which must have been when she was crowned, on their trip to New Zealand, they made all the natives, like the Maori and the Maori speakers, make them speak nothing but English. Made them clean the area. By clean, I mean like wreck shop and like destroy, break a lot of stuff and clear the path that was fit enough for the royal family. Whether that was the Queen, not it falls in line. So it was in the 50s, but yeah. So that's how crazy is that. not very raw. And I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, that's how my grandma ended up, and my grandpa, I think, ended up learning how to speak English, is because of the forced English back in the 1950s due to this. I'm going to assume due to this incident back in February of 1952. It was celebrated with a large-scale parties and parades throughout the UK and the Commonwealth. So that's that. Um, Although the band denies that this was the inspiration, Johnny Rotten himself has been quoted to say, "You don't write God Save the Queen because you hate the English race. You write a song because you love them and you're fed up with them being mistreated." He claims he intended to evoke sympathy for the English working class and a general resentment towards the monarchy. So, I mean, he is part of the band, so it's like, you know, I'm sure he knows better than most what the ideas of Sex Pistols were. So take that with however much a grain of salt you want. So on the 9th of June 1977, the Jubilee holiday, on the Jubilee holiday, the band attempted to play the song from a boat named Queen Elizabeth on the River Thames. After a scuffle involving attendee John Wobble and a cameraman, 11 people, and the band's manager, and several other band entourage members, they were arrested when the boat docked. Imagine that. They're just out there, God save the Queen. They're just playing this shit, and then like as soon as the boat arrives, it's like, you are fucking arrested, motherfucker. Come with us. And it's like, oi, mate, this is unfair, mate. You're a bunch of cunts, you. I didn't do this, me. You're getting it all wrong, mate. So there's that. Despite the song's apparent controversy, I mean, not apparent, actually, the actual controversy, it charted number 38 in New Zealand, third in Norway, second in Sweden, second on the official UK chart company, and first on the UK New Musical Express. Yeah. So that's one place at least. Since its release, today's times pretty much, the Rolling Stone has rated the song 175 on its 500 greatest songs of all time. It was the ninth track on the rock and it was named a track on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's 500 songs that shaped rock and roll. It was Sound Magazine's single of the year in 1977, and in 1989 it was 18th in the list of NME's NME, not enemy. The enemy is like, this is a fucking they just come full circle, all the enemies. I know we sell this shit, but this is a fucking great song. No, NME, the company. They called it the all-time top 150 singles. Q Magazine in 2002 ranked it the first on its list of the 50 most exciting tunes ever, but third on its list of 100 songs that changed the fucking world. I mean, it's not bad. Third. I wonder, I should research what the other two were. In 2007, the same NME. What a name. Like, fucking, isn't it confusing when people say it like that? Enemy. Maybe it was intentional. Anyway, launched the campaign to get the song to number one in the British charts and encouraged readers to purchase or download the single on October 8th. However, despite it, it only made number 42. Went lower than fucking ever. Isn't that funny? Like, all these years later, it's like, you realize it was full of shit, all the censorship and all that. Let's change it. Let's put it number one. And then like all these years later, it's even still the British public were like, nah, go fuck yourself. I mean, 42, hey, that's still top 50, so it's pretty good, I guess. If you're looking for the glass half full, mate. Man, I do terrible accents. Fuck. Anyway, so the band only released one album. So I kind of compare it to Joy Division. I mean, Joy Division released two at least, but they released only one. So it's not hard to go through the discography. There is only one album titled "Never Mind the Bollocks, Mate." Here's the Sex Pistols. There was no mate. That was just me. It's just "Never Mind the Bollocks." Here comes the Sex Pistols. In 1977, it became a staple in punk rock, but this was released in 1977. But January of 1978, at the end of their turbulent tour of the US, Rotten announced the band's breakup. I wonder why. No, just, I guess, fed up with all the bullshit, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, So came out a year later, broke up. The three remaining members recorded songs for McLaren's film of the Sex Pistols entitled The Great Rock and Roll Swindle. Unfortunately, Sid died of a heroin overdose in February 1979 following his arrest of the murder of his girlfriend, Nancy Spungen. I hope I said that right. I didn't think to get too much into that one because this is just the crazy life of the Sex Pistols. I thought I just mentioned it would be enough. Go search it up if you want to. It's I'm pretty sure there's a new documentary about the Sex Pistols, where like one of the band members feels so guilty about introducing the two together and blames himself for the death. So yeah, he died of a heroin overdose, February 1979, and unfortunately his girlfriend was murdered by the same Sid. By the time of the album's release, they were already not water for Profanity Live, as we spoke about on that show. They were fired from two different labels and banned from airing in most of the networks in the UK. However, the album title itself drew controversy. They can't catch a break, can they? And you can guess what for, huh? Was it sex? Was it pistols? No, it was bollocks. What bollocks? No, it was bollocks. As most found it offensive. Most record stores refused to carry it, and most record charts refused to list the title. Just a blank space. So, like, I guess if the song charted at all, if people try to look for it, just blank. Oh, what's this? That would have been a perfect time to have the Shazam app on. Just what's it called? Oh, blank. Oh yeah, fuck, I never found this. But then again, it's like how many people were sounding like that back then? It's like I think it's pretty distinctive who the fuck they were. It's pretty much doing nothing. Despite all the setbacks, somehow the album debuted at number 1. There you go, Sex Pistols. There you fucking go. You know what's funny? When I first heard the name Sex Pistols, I thought it was like a really like R-rated movie or something. Like this is before I found that it was even a band. I remember hearing everywhere the Sex Pistols, and I'm like, oh shit, what is this? Is this like a fucking porn movie? Is this like an R-rated movie? Is this like some kind of fucking? Is this a company like Sex Pistols? I was like, it was cute. It was a curious name to me, the Sex Pistols. Yeah, and I was wrong, but I ended up finding a great band because of it. So there you go. Yeah, so they were number 1 somehow. It achieved advance orders of 125,000 copies after a week and went gold in only a few weeks. So there you go. I guess it's kind of what's happening. What's happening in a lot of cases with Rotten Tomatoes, a movie company. Like what happened with Dave Chappelle. I think he started his what was it, Sticks and Stones stand up special. How initially Rotten Tomatoes blocked customer or listener feedback. Apparently they were like, oh, it doesn't matter. They're going to rate it 0, just like us. This was trash. This was insensitive, offensive, whatever. And then once they've opened up to the public, it got like 100% rating. Advanced copies are 125,000 and then went gold in 2 weeks. So, when the public speaks, the public fucking speaks. In the UK, the album was subject to what people describe as as what one of them described as a blatant act of censorship exercised by media and outlets alike. Apparently, yeah. So, blatant act of censorship exercised by media and outlets alike. Apparently, the London police visited the City Virgin Record store and branches and told them that they were facing prosecution for indecency as stipulated by the 1899 Indecent Advertisement Act if they continued to display posters of the album cover in windows. It's like fuck off, dude. Seriously, like these dudes stood up. These dudes were the fucking what's the cunt's name? These boys were the what's his name? Was the guy from Twisted Sister that fought for censorship for heavy metal. Dee Snider. These guys were the punk Dee Snider of their time, fucking standing up again for censorship, against censorship. On the 9th of November 1977, just 2 days before the album released in the US, London Evening Standard, which was a local newspaper, announced on its front page that police were moving in on punk disc shops, and how a Virgin Records shop manager, so the one I was talking about earlier in Nottingham, was arrested for displaying the record after several warnings. I love this dude. This random manager of the record store was like, "Go fuck yourself." They come back, "Yeah, go fuck yourself." Go back, "Go fuck it." Like, whoever that dude is, he deserves respect. Like, I'm gonna get you tattooed next time, brother. Respect. That's the kind of guys you want. These are the people that I love to hear about. Horns up, dude. Wait, do punks people use horns up? If they don't, I don't know their sign. So mohawks up. You can't see on the hands, but fuck up, mohawks up. The case ended up going to the Nottingham Magistrates Court on the 24th of November. This is the thing with the court, exactly like Dee Snider did for heavy metal. It was presented as a matter of police discrimination. Well, fucking no shit. What for just saying bollocks? They didn't even say bollocks, for presenting bollocks. Yeah. The defense stated that that there was a double standard, saying the word bollocks was only obscene once it appeared on the Sex Pistols album. So, pretty much making the point. It's like no one gave a shit about that word until the Sex Pistols had it. So interesting. I found this pretty cool in my research. They even had an expert witness professor. His name's James Kinsley. He was the head of the School of English at the University of Nottingham, who argued the word bollocks was not obscene at all and was actually a legitimate Old English term formerly used to refer to a priest. Oh shit, a priest. Can you imagine going back to like those old times? You need to talk to a priest. Hey, bollocks. I need to speak to you, bollocks. Hey, women is too. Hey, bollocks. Fucking hell. For a priest. Here we are thinking this is like degrading term for the word arse is how I've come to think of it. How I've had explained to me, but no, apparently it means priest. So there you go. Somehow went from priest to arse. Apparently though, apparently Rotten said to regarding the case that if we lose the case, fuck it. It didn't say he said fuck it, but don't worry. But so he said, I'll repeat. I got a bit jumbled there. Ron said, if we lose the case, don't worry. We'll just rename it. We'll just rename the album. Never mind the Stones. Here's the Sex Pistols. So I guess maybe all the fighting got to him, and this is probably why maybe just made the band. But yeah, because he didn't have any problem if he had to change the band name. So yeah, there you go. The case ended with the chairman of the hearing concluding the hearing by saying this: as much as my colleagues and I wholeheartedly deplore the vulgar exploitation of the worst instincts of human nature for the purposes of commercial profits by both you and your company, we must reluctantly find you not guilty of all the charges. So yeah, that's the whole controversy about the Sex Pistols, their fight against censorship, how they won, their historic, infamous one-album career, the murder of Nancy, and the heroin overdose of Sid. So much went on, and you listen to the album, you can hear the rawness, you can hear the rebelliousness, and it's obvious to say that they literally, even though they may not have been the first group, they definitely became the rocket that fueled the punk movement, and punk wouldn't be the same without them. So once again, let me say, regarding all the controversy, never mind the bollocks, here's the Sex Pistols.